Hey guys, I'm in Vale, North Carolina at Hart Square Village, and boy, I'm excited. This is an amazing place. Dr. Hart started this back in the early 70s. This is his granddaughter, Rebecca Hart, and this is Brett Weatherman. And he contacted me last month when I was in North Carolina about this. He's one of the maintenance supervisors, I guess, here.
Yep.
And we're here today to film what Dr. Hart has done here over the past 50 years, and it's just spectacular. There are over 100 different, I call them Appalachian structures, but I love it, and Rebecca's going to take us in the old general store, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her grandfather and his vision of this place. So you grew up here, I guess, as a kid, huh?
I did. I always tell people my first job here was child labor. I helped move several of the cabins here with my grandfather and the 7 other grandchildren. It was a wonderful way to grow up. So.
And now you're the director of it, and it's a nonprofit organization.
That's correct.
And you do an event once a year that they have to buy tickets to, and I understand they usually sell out to get into it.
Yes, we do a big Living History Festival in October every year. It's October 28th this year. And then we do traditional Appalachian heritage craft classes all year round and field trips for children. So.
And Brett, you've been here about 8 years too, right? So
Yep.
Tell them how you started out.
Started out, a gentleman asked me to help park cars during the festival day, so I said, yes, I will. The next year, Rebecca reached out to me and said, we need people to start fires in all the fireplaces. There's 65 fireplaces, some of the outdoor fireplaces also. So I started doing that, and still I do the fireplaces during the festival day. Bob passed away in March of 2020. And so he would always be out here every day of the week, more or less, doing different things, picking up sticks, fixing a porch board, a handrail, just whatever needs to be done to 103 structures. And she didn't have a maintenance man at the time, and I said, you know, I'd be willing to help out, try to get ready for the festival. It was during COVID year. We wasn't sure with everything going on, so that's where I stepped in, and I'm the maintenance manager over here, site maintenance manager. So, and that's been a lot of work.
Well, I guess you've been watching some of my videos and saw what I did, and you emailed me. You saw I'd come to North Carolina last month, and you said, well, maybe he'll come back. And as soon as I looked it up on the internet and saw all the pictures of the, you know, especially in the fall, it's beautiful here with all the leaves and everything. I said, yes, I'm coming. And I got to see there's some videos on YouTube of your grandfather talking about some of the structures and some of the structures. And one of them was right here, the general merchandise store, and that's what we're going to go into and look at first. And so on this very first video today, we're going to look at the general store, and then the second video coming up after this one, we're going to go up and watch them. They're rebuilding the, what is it called?
It's called the Pottery Groundhog Kiln. We had to redo, the brickwork inside was falling down, so about 6 months ago we rebuilt it, and now we're in the process of putting the roof over top of it to keep the mud from washing off of it. But on festival day, how many pots we put in it? 400 pots of different size and height, and we fire it, and we can see more of it when we go back over there in a little bit. And so we got a group of volunteers helping us today with that.
So that'll be on a second video, because we're going to spend a little bit of time with Rebecca inside the general store looking at some of the amazing antiques that Dr. Hart has collected over the years. And one of the very first structures is this one right back here?
Yes, the Hunsucker cabin was moved here in 1973, and it's sort of the thing that spiraled the uncontrollable passion of moving the rest of the 102 structures here.
And you said something about the community kind of thought your grandfather was kind of crazy or something about doing all this? Or?
Yeah, he was a doctor in town in Hickory, a family practice doctor, and so he would talk about moving the Hunsucker cabin here, and all his patients got super interested, and the rest of the community said, well, I'm a carpenter, I'm a furniture builder, I'm a blacksmith. So then this place just was never empty again, and we had tons and tons of help and support from our community.
Well, we're going to let Brett go over and get started back with, he's got a lot of volunteers he needs to get back there and help, and Rebecca's going to take us inside and look at this. Thanks for your time. We'll see you here in just a few minutes.
Appreciate it.
All right, Rebecca, we're ready to go in?
Yeah, let's go check it out.
Let's go.
All right, guys.
So one of the things we know from, it was built in what year?
1790 by the Little family.
By the Little family, and Each one of these cabins has a number, I see. This is number 29. Now, does that mean the order that he put them here, or how's those numbers work?
I've been trying to figure out this number situation a long time. I have no idea. No idea, but this was definitely early because of the section it was in. We're very close to that first cabin we talked about earlier, so I know this is one of the first 10 that was moved here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And each one's got a number and...
That correlates to a map.
To a map, okay.
Yes.
So this was the little cabin, and he had found this here in North Carolina, maybe?
Yes, this was probably located about within a 10-mile radius since it was one of our first ones. The full collection comes from over 60-mile area, so the Catawba River Valley.
So he turned it into what would have been a country store or a general store, basically, and you were talking about all the different items he had to collect. You said, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was talking earlier about collecting, because I know a lot of y'all are collectors. This was the hardest one to collect for because you had to find multiples of things. The window casing is a great example of trying to find multiples. He said it took him 10 years to collect everything in this one building.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. He needs more than one of the same item.
Yes, exactly.
I got you. So yeah, I see here he's got, so to make it look like an actual store, he needed quite a few of the same item.
Yeah. And there's some really interesting items in here that I'd love to talk about.
Okay.
So we have a little children's goat cart here. And I think that is a really sweet piece with the original paint. That came with the house, one of the only items that came with the house. Below that, I have an original 1800s cigar press. Now, you know, tobacco was huge in North Carolina back in those days, and so you could actually come and purchase tobacco here, roll it, and have it right on the spot. There was a way that they told us whether they had fresh tobacco in the Appalachian region, which was they put a wooden Native American structure outside of the general store, and he's right over here. So if they had fresh tobacco available and you were in your wagon, you would know without having to dismount that that was going to be here in the store. Some of y'all, when you drive through the country, see these still in front of gas stations and country stores.
Well, we were talking about that earlier, and that was
Yes,
something
we
I
were.
really didn't know that I learned right here, that the Indian outside the store represented they sold tobacco.
Yeah.
I thought that. I knew it had something to do with tobacco, but that's kind of like their sign.
Yeah.
Instead of a sign, they had a wooden Indian.
Mm-hmm. Now, another interesting piece in here is this thread cabinet. You know, my grandfather did a lot of work for people in this area to help them keep their cabins up in the hopes that maybe one day he would get them here. And so he helped a woman in her 80s keep up her grandparents' cabin, and she gave him this in return, and it is from their original country store here in Vale.
We was looking at this earlier, and Brett was showing me that it loads from the top right here.
Oh, yeah.
And that was neat. Let's see if I can get it open. So they would put the spools of thread in up here, and they'd come down through here. And probably at one time they might have been all one color, possibly. Mm-hmm. And then you open it up down here, and then you would pull them out. So that, and this is four-sided. It's got 4 different sides. I'm not for sure. It's got another one here. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. And it looks like they had numbers on them. And this is a very nice piece, very nice piece. I've seen a few, maybe from the 40s and 50s, but this one probably dates back into the late 1800s possibly, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing the things that were made in that time. People don't realize how creative they were. Another piece I love is this children's wagon. This is a Piedmont wagon, which was a company in Hickory, about 20 miles from here. And Piedmont wagon was obviously very popular in the days of wagons, but it had a massive resurgence actually during the Depression, right when the first cars came out, because then people couldn't afford the cars. So this company was one of the only employers that kind of helped our area survive the Great Depression. All of their pieces are noteworthy because of the green and red paint. So there's a lot of collectors out there that really like the Piedmont wagons.
Wagon manufacturing, North Carolina, Hickory. Okay.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
So I see that. So they people went back to buying wagons during the Depression. Mm-hmm. And so they kept making, but this one was made mainly for a kid, or?
This one is an example of a children's one, but we do have actual covered wagons in the village that are from the Piedmont Wagon Company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How about that? That's
Yeah.
interesting, ain't it?
Yeah, it is.
To have something that local. Do you know what year the wagon, do you think that was built during the Depression, this one?
This one, I think, predates that a little bit, but not much because it has the metal components to it, so it's not one of the earliest ones they did. This piece, I think, is interesting. You know, this was a locksmith's sampler. So a locksmith would travel door to door and sell you on what he could make you for your cabin. And so this will show you his little sampler, and it was much easier for him to transport that around than carrying a full door. So we have a lot of different examples in some of the other cabins of samplers. People used to do that with cotton gins. They'd travel with a little tiny built cotton gin and tell you that that's what they could build you. So I think that's interesting. This is one of Brett's favorite pieces because he's, you know, the maintenance guy. So he loves the way that all of this is organized, and he says he wishes that Lowe's would still use these to organize because he can never find what he wants. You know, we have all sorts of shot here. You know, they kept everything. That's really, I could do a 30-minute video on this whole thing, but.
Now, tell me more, what is this? Oh, the shot. Okay,
the
yeah.
shot, yeah.
I got you. I see it right here. It's
Yes.
to make for their shotguns. That was the pellets.
Exactly.
I've never realized that they'd actually come in and buy it like that. Then would they buy it by the ounce or the pound or something?
Yeah, exactly, by the ounce. So they would have weighed it. So it normally is by the scale, but I had to move it because the little kids on field trips love to just open it
So
up.
they open it up and they come out.
It goes everywhere.
So it probably would have had, I see you got maybe maybe the same size through there right now. There might be a few different ones, but it probably were smaller, bigger, different gauge of it.
You are exactly right.
How about that? So we've got a box full of string. It's not string, I don't guess it'd be.
Yeah, we've got some yarn and linens. We have a huge fiber history here in the area. Our area was really well known for fiber and furniture making. So you'll see a lot of really beautiful pieces of furniture and a lot of, you meet a lot of people who do fiber art still that were passed down through generations, like flax and lace making and weaving.
Okay, so Hickory, North Carolina still makes furniture, I guess, don't they?
Oh yes, we're like a nationally known furniture area and fabric. Ooh. So it's really neat that those have persisted through time, you know.
You have any idea what year, how far that goes back in Hickory that they've been making furniture? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think the late 1800s, I can think of the Bernhardt family. They were started in the 1800s. You know, and then Valdez Weavers is one of our big fabric providers, and they're a 3-generation company. So, yeah, a lot of family heritage there, and a lot of those same folks who work in our factories are the same people who demonstrate living history out here. So they come and bring the village to life for our living history festivals, and they will do the lace making that they learned from their grandparents.
So let's talk about that just a minute while you brought it up.
Sure.
The festival will be on the last weekend in October, and they can buy tickets online.
That's right.
And they go to hartsquare.com. Hartsquare.com.
That's right.
All right. So there's limited. You only sell so many, right?
Yes, I limit it to 3,500, and it pretty much sells out every year. And the Christmas one I do as well is the first weekend of December, and they both sell out at this point. That's limited to 1,000 a night. The only difference between them is one is during the day and one is in the evening by candlelight. So go ahead and get them if you want to come visit us. Come say hey to me and tell me that you saw me.
So that's the only time it's really open to the public then, I guess. You do some other events though, I mean some classes and training events, and that's online, I saw that on your website. Yeah,
so we open to the public for 17 events a year. That's just the one we're known for best, and it's our biggest one. So we are open throughout the year. We have a membership program for people to come Monday through Friday. We've got a lot of retirees who come and love to walk the historical trails. We're working towards having admission, but it takes staff and money and time. So that is our goal, but I think we're a few years away.
So, all right, I wanted to get that in there before we forgot about it. So, people, I know people's going to want to come see this place because they're just seeing one of the structures. There's over 100 of them here.
That's
so,
right.
and the property is absolutely beautiful. So let's look at the, there's a few things over here. I see the cheese. I've never seen one like this right here. I've just usually seen it sitting on a counter, but this must open up and pull out or something. What's this?
Yeah, it does. It opens up, it pulls out, and it spins around on a Lazy Susan style platform. And, you know, it has this screen here, much like a lot of the pie safes that we see in the village, but this one was a specific cheese cabinet is what that's called.
So that kept the cheese fresh one instead of it just sitting out on the counter.
That's right.
How
That's
about
exactly
that?
right. And they would have sold breads, biscuit mix, flour mix. So it really is your one-stop shop, you know, anything you want. Got a lot of little sawed irons here. My grandfather loved to collect those. I don't really know why, but he loved them. And then, of course, this is where you would get all of your own fabric for making your own clothes. Once they progressed a little bit more, they would have had some higher fashion items that we have over here. And then some people would have made their own. It really just depended on your income level. We've got original shoes as well. I swear they had narrower feet. I don't know. They look so tiny.
Oh, wow.
I know.
How about that?
Maybe it's like the corset, you had to shove it in there or something.
So I see they got some burlap over here too.
Yeah, definitely. That would have been used quite a lot. And then buttons, you know, because you needed every piece if you were going to be constructing your own clothing.
Yeah, it takes, we come in here earlier and looked around, but it really takes a while to really absorb everything that's in here.
Yeah, it does. I want to show you some stuff in the attic too, but we'll have to kind of walk around to do that. But, you know, when we look back at this backdrop here of all the different items, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the difficulty of collecting for a country store, of just trying to find the different types of things in good condition. Brett loves the cash register we have here. It has a passcode on it. And if you don't know the passcode, it's going to let the general store manager know that you're trying to break into his cash register. So it's bell operated.
So that bell we just heard, it's inside the cash register?
Yeah. Isn't that neat? So here's the little, kind of like the inside of a piano. I'll push on those keys. You can see that.
Combination lock, huh?
Yes, it's an original combination lock. You know, he would have kept money back here, of course, but he also would have used a ledger system. So this is an original 1800s ledger where they would have, you know, kept their credit. You might have, as a farmer, not had the money to pay until your crops came in. So they used this ledger system, and then when your crops came in and you got your money, you'd come back in and pay your bill.
So do you know what this one, what years this one is?
Let's see.
Wow, it's old, ain't it?
We could try to find out. Wow, it is really old, isn't it? Wow. You know, they had such better handwriting back then than we do now. So, I don't know, do you see any dates on here?
Well,
Here's an 1858 ledger.
1858, how about that?
Yeah, that's pretty neat, huh?
Mid-1800s we're finding here.
Yeah. And then we've got 1863 here, so.
1863.
Well, all original. You know, on a more somber note, one thing they also carried in a general store was coffins and children's coffins. And those are located up above me in the rafters here. They would have also kept, you know, larger items that weren't as common, maybe custom order items up there. So we see a lot of original barrels and big flour sacks and things like that.
So yeah, I see some cast iron up here on the top I didn't see. The more I look around, the more I find.
Oh yeah, cast iron is we all know this. We still use cast iron today because it just doesn't get any better than cast iron. But a lot of our trail cookers out here and our open hearth cookers, they love using cast iron, and it's just, I feel like it's been a mainstay in American culture since this time period that we're in right now. It's great.
Looks like we got some candy over here.
Yes, that's for the kids. Yeah. When we do field trips, I like to bring them in here and let them
Oh,
try.
so you actually give them some candy.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not just for display then.
No, it's modern. So we like to let them kind of experience in a little more of a hands-on way what something would have tasted like, or let them touch some of the items. And it's good to be tactile with children.
Okay, so you have quite a few groups come through local from this area.
We have 5,000 students we serve every year.
Oh, wow.
So you're just missing them. They're coming next week to start their spring season. And we serve about 10 different counties in this region.
So they come
that's a
here
big-
as an educational tour to learn what it was like to
Yeah.
live back in the day before the internet.
Yes, it's mind-blowing to them. This store, for instance, is mind-blowing to them. It's why I feature it on my tour with them, because they're used to Walmart, right? And I was like, this is all you would have access to. And so it's neat to see the wheels turn, you know?
So we got a tobacco cutter maybe, or what we got going on here? What's this do?
Yeah, tobacco cutting.
And then I looked at this earlier when we first walked through with Brett. He wasn't for sure what this was here.
I don't know really what this is either. It kind of looks like a meat grinder, but I'm not totally sure.
I kind of thought it might have ground tobacco possibly.
Ooh, maybe it did. I hope someone comments and lets us know in the comments section of the video
Now, is this
what
something
they
just
think
sitting
it
on top
is.
of the box? Okay, that's not part of the box then.
No.
These are just some type of weights maybe for the
this.
balances here. Okay, so you got some scales right here.
Yeah, I got some scales. We were talking earlier about weighing out shot. They would have weighed out plenty of things out here. A lot of things were sold by weight.
So that one's kind of a mystery. Looks like apparently you put something in there and grind it and it might come out the back there maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to have someone teach us what that is.
I don't know how many people actually use one of those that's still watching YouTube, but you got some interesting boxes up here and wow, so.
I love all the funny like cure-all things from
Oh,
the
yeah?
1800s, like, you know, just different little things that say they can cure a bunch of stuff. If you come back in October, I've got a guy that does, he's a medicine man, and he brings all of his potions from the 1800s and talks about them. All right, so I found my Humphrey's Remedies, and he claims to be able to cure 77 different ailments, everything from coughs to dysentery to kidney disease, spasms, sore throat. Yeah, I wonder how he did with that.
So that's interesting. You think that's prices out here that says 25, maybe $1? You think that's what the prices of the, or
Yeah.
is that
I
one
think-
remedy or is that all different ones?
Ooh, I think the number is here and then the price of that, so 25 cents. And then we have the number here and then the price here.
So how about that?
Yes. I wish medicine was still 25 cents.
Well, I think we've got a good tour of this one. We're going to wrap this video up and we'll go over here and start filming with the other guys a little bit.
Sounds good. Have fun over at the Pottery Kiln, y'all. Hey guys, I'm Rebecca Hart, director at Hart Square Village. I'm going to introduce you to master potter Preston Tolbert, who's rebuilding our historic Groundhog kiln.
Well, this kiln is designed after a kiln from the 1820s, 1830s. As a matter of fact, it was originally built on archboards from that time. And last fall, we rebuilt the front of it. It was starting to look pretty bad.
So Preston, tell us a little bit about the Catawba Valley tradition. I know it's about 2,000 years old, really, of this continuous tradition from native tribes. Who was involved in that and how did it get started?
Well, one of the earliest stoneware potters here. Stoneware is clay that's fired up above 2,000 degrees.
Okay.
The earliest stoneware potter in this area was Daniel Siegel. And he had several apprentices. They had apprentices, and that tradition continued through Berlin Craig, who was the last surviving potter in this area around the 1980s, in which he took some apprentices, and they're still making pots today.
Yeah.
Berlin Craig was the only link to from the original European settlers in this area, as far as potters go, to today in the United States.
Wow. Yeah, he was totally pivotal in this movement. So we had the Catawba and Cherokee tribes, like I said, creating for 2,000 years. The European settlers came around 1750s, and that's what brought in those big families, the Siegels, the Reinhardts, a lot of collectibles you guys might know that this area is known for. But that tradition, like he's saying, is passed down orally. So we almost lost it. There was only one person. And the reason why that's so important is because making pottery is not just about throwing on the wheel. It's the glaze recipes that are involved, and it's the wood firing technique. So I'm going to have Preston talk a little bit about sort of the three components, in my opinion, of Catawba Valley pottery are the local clay, the alkaline glaze, and the wood firing. Talk about those and what makes them special.
Well, you know, the potters that made pots and continue to make pots from the beginning of the 20th century, they kept up with the times and changed. But around here, they really didn't. So they kept using those original techniques that were I don't know, I kind of lost my...
That would have been lost to time, really.
Yeah.
Those techniques like local clay. So our local Catawba clay here is one of the best. I mean, people come here to dig it out because of the richness of it and how beautiful it is when it's fired.
As a matter of fact, there's the Catawba clay is being dispersed throughout the southeast. There's a clay company down near Seagrove, North Carolina, that is taking the clay from Catawba, making clay, and sharing it all over the U.S.
Yeah, which is so cool.
Yeah.
You know, the alkaline glaze recipe is a cinder glaze, and that's passed down orally. And if you mess it up, you can blow up a pot. So it's pretty important that you learn that from a master to an apprentice. I know we've blown up pots here before plenty of times. And then the last component is wood firing, which is really Preston's specialty. So if you want to talk a little bit about wood firing and how the Groundhog kiln, the design and how it works.
So the way this kiln is, we have a firebox on one end, a wear chamber in the middle, and then a flue on the other side is the chimney. And we'll load pots in the middle of the kiln. The pots are dry, and then we start putting wood in the front. We start stoking it and building like a campfire, and then the fire builds and builds until we have an absolute inferno. We're throwing in 6 to 10 pieces of wood, and within a couple of minutes it's all gone. We'll end up with a flame out the chimney 10, 12 feet tall.
How hot does it get in there?
The kiln gets about 2,400 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow, that's incredible.
And you notice I'm using the word kill. It's interesting that word was originally pronounced this way, and it was spelled K-I-L-N, and then as the word got used in books and stuff, people would read it as kiln. So when you hear people say the word kiln, it's because they mispronounced the word kill. they read it and then said it that way.
Okay, I did not know that. You know, I think one thing that Preston and I are working on is not just the restoration of this kiln, but also the preservation of the tradition, right? Like he was saying, it could have died out in 1980, and luckily we have Kim Ellington, who apprenticed under Berlin Craig, who has partnered with Preston and some of our other potters, but we're finding it really, really difficult, and so we have decided to start a program for apprenticeship here at Hart Square. So we're actually launching this summer, bringing in children to start learning the traditional methods, and they will hopefully get to participate in our community firing, which happens on that Living History Day in October. So are there any things you want to share about this kiln in particular? I mean, it was a really important thing to you too, you know.
Totally. Before I really understood this tradition, I'm from this area, but before I really understood this tradition, I was in a university situation, and I had a book about kiln building, and the first kiln that I built, I used that book to build it. Well, this kiln is featured in that book. When they made that book, they used the photographs and the original drawings and photographs of the archboards to basically show how to build a pottery kiln. And this is it's called the Kiln Book by Fred Olson, and it's spread out across the world. There's people all over the world that know this particular kiln, and it's pretty special.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I helped Fred Olson build a North Carolina Groundhog kiln in Wales.
Oh, that's really neat. Yeah, this kiln here was built in 1987 by Berlin Craig, who we were talking about, who is a National Endowment for the Arts winner. So he's also featured in the Smithsonian. And so all of us here are very proud of him because he's our only artist we have in the Catawba Valley who is in the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. So he built this. This is his legacy. And we had the honor of rebuilding it here so that we can continue his legacy.
So this is called the potting shed?
Yeah, so this is where a potter would make pots, and this potting shed was based on Berlin Craig's shed that he was using. Berlin Craig is basically the person that we associate with Catawba Valley pottery most, because he is the bridge that connects 19th century pottery with pottery today.
And this is something we were talking about earlier that you went to college for and got a degree in, and you teach it now.
Yeah, I teach ceramics at Lenoir University and Catawba Valley Community College.
So this is kind of a profession and a passion both together, huh?
Yeah, it's like anything. When you really dive into it and make it your business, it really fully encompasses your life.
Let's go inside and see some of these pieces I was looking at earlier. We were talking about all these lids out here that Dr. Hart had collected for churn lids.
Yeah, these are churn lids. Some people would use these for weights for fermenting, like for making pickles. So this is an example of a pottery shed. This is never used to really produce pottery except for during the festival. Right here, we have a set of archboards. These archboards are from as early as 1825. These archboards were used to build the kiln that Berlin Craig used. These archboards were probably used to build most of the kilns in this area. And these archboards were used to build this kiln in 1987.
So they use that to lay the brick across?
Exactly. And if you look, these archboards are not made with nails. It's actually made with rosewood pins.
So there would have been a lot of them built at that same angle, degree, and arch, I guess.
And what's really interesting is that this exact arch is it's almost identical to the arches at Le Borgne in France. So we feel that there is a connection between Catawba Valley pottery and Le Borgne pottery in France.
The settlers brought it here probably in
We don't know the exact connection, but there's enough evidence that it's likely.
So we was looking at some of these pottery that has the faces on them. They have a special name. You call them just face pottery? Or?
These are face jugs, is what.
Face jugs, okay.
And face jugs are. They can trace their roots back to enslaved potters in Edgefield, South Carolina.
So we got, is some of this pottery here been here for a while or made here, or has it been collected? Or
most of the pottery that you see right here was made here during the festival. So when potters demonstrate, they would leave their pots here. So this is kind of evidence of many years of the festival.
we got some little boards that's got arches over here. What's up with these things? What are this about?
Those are called pot lifts, and when you would make a pot on a wheel, you would use a wire and cut the pot off, and then you put those two boards together, and they can lift the pot off the wheel.
Okay, got you. So this is some stuff they've actually. This
This is a treadle wheel. This is a little bit newer design than 1800s. This one's only back to about the 1950s. This is a Leach treadle wheel designed in England. But what we have here is a ball opener, and this is Berlin Craig made this ball opener for us here at Hart Square. And the way this would be used is you're turning a pot, and when you center the clay, you use this to open the clay and flatten the bottom like that. So at some point we will get a traditional Catawba Valley style treadle wheel. Over here is a glaze mill. So glaze would be poured into the center here, and then you turn this handle and grind the glaze materials. The glaze here is made of wood ash, clay, and traditionally iron cinders from smelting iron.
You was talking earlier about that you got clay from your own farm that you use to make pottery for yourself?
I do use some of the clay that I've dug from my farm. I did use some of the clay from my farm to make bricks for this kiln that we recently rebuilt.
So most of the pottery is, the clay in this area is particularly suited for making pottery, or?
The clay in this area is the very best. This clay, originally the Rhodes clay pit that was used by most of the potters in this area is just an unbelievably good clay. The first time I used it, it made me feel like a good potter.
So I noticed that before I was talking about, used to be located, my business was located by a commercial pottery company. They used what I think they called it slip or something. Is that similar to what you would call it on this, making these type pottery? Or?
So with that, the way you would use slip is you take a clay and mix it into a liquid. It's just a lot more water in it. It's the only difference between a clay and a slip, and then you pour it into a mold.
A mold. Slip's used for a mold, and then these are handmade on these wheels.
Correct.
So this is operated. How is this foot operated, or how does this work?
This wheel, you sit on the saddle here, and then you kick the treadle like that.
Okay, so then the potter just shapes it however they feel.
Exactly. Now, traditionally, the Catawba Valley style treadle wheel is a stand-up treadle wheel. So you have a lean bar, and then you stand up like this, and you turn like that. And the potter would actually, you're standing on your right leg, and your right leg is the one that goes bad eventually, not the left leg. The left leg's working, the right leg would typically have some problems. Berlin Craig had neuropathy derived from standing on that one leg. There's a famous potter, David Drake, from Edgefield, South Carolina, an enslaved potter, and he lost his right leg, and I believe it was from neuropathy from throwing standing up like that.
So a lot of physical labor goes into making pottery then.
It's nothing but physical labor.
Nothing but physical labor.
Even now, I mean, it's a lot of work.
Now, do you sell your pottery that you make? Do you have a place that you?
I do several shows. I have a website, sell my pottery on, and
what's the name of your website? Some people might want to check that out.
Preston Tolbert or TolbertCeramics.com.
Tolbert Ceramics.
So TOLBERT.
Okay.
Ceramics.com.
Okay, so they can find some of your work on there.
Yeah.
And you ship it?
Yeah.
Okay. I imagine that's not easy to ship without getting it broke sometimes.
I do pretty well.
Did pretty well. All right.
I don't ship anything very big. I stick to smaller things. I sell my big stuff at local shows. I think I'm going to put this one right there. Broke my finger.
You broke your finger?
Yeah.
Just now?
Yeah. Look at that. It's broke. I'll go see if I can find the light.
Right.
Yeah, I smashed a rock down that way.
Use really white oak and pine for most of our projects, and we did use the post right here. Those are locust posts. 7 inches. Take that saw and trim it up here. It'd be about right. We're gonna put these slats on today, and then we're gonna put rock, always big rock up on top to conceal, and then dirt. And then when we get them putting dirt in, we'll put the tin on top. Okay, about that.
So when it's time to start the fire, we have green pots all through the kiln, and the green pots can easily blow up if they get above 212. 212's temperature water boils, so we have to keep a small campfire right here in the bottom of the kiln. We'll start a campfire, and we'll get the fire going low and keep it low for a few hours until all the water is driven off of those pots. And once we're sure all the water is driven off, we'll slowly build that fire up, and soot will start to form over all the pots. All the pots will turn black, and we'll see the soot start to load up on the pots until they get all the way to the back of the kiln from the front, and then slowly the soot will start to burn off. We know that the soot burns off around 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and the pots will turn from black to white. And as soon as we see the pots turn in the back of the kiln, as soon as they turn from black to white in the back of the kiln, we'll blast it off. And blasting off means we really just stoke lots of wood in the front. Flames come out the chimney, and we'll do that until the kiln gets to 2,350 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's white hot. The ware is shiny and slick, and then we quit stoking the kiln and we're done.
So this is your wood that you'll use this fall?
Yeah, we use between 4 and 6 foot pine slabs, and a lot of people are skeptical about us using pine because you think about your wood stove in your house where you got to use oak, and oak makes a hot fire. But for us, there's a lot of rosin in that pine and a lot of energy, and it really gets a hot kill.
And you said it's 4 foot. What? It looks like you'd have to put it in sideways or at an angle to get 4 foot boards in these?
Between 4 and 6 foot boards will just kind of, they slide down and they'll stick out to about here.
Okay.
And we'll actually use the wood to kind of block these doors up. We'll stuff all 3 of these holes with wood. And it kind of acts like an afterburner. It just sucks air, and it's absolutely incredible the amount of heat we'll get out of this. It acts like a rocket ship almost.
So maybe we'll get to see that in the fall. I bet that'll be pretty amazing. So got it rebuilt now. It should be going pretty good this fall.
Yeah, we've done 2 firings in this kiln since we rebuilt it.
Oh, have you? Okay.
And we're getting this roof on it so it won't be wet next time we fire it.
So that's the purpose of building the roof. We
Right.
didn't really talk about that yet. So
Yeah, we were putting a shed on it to keep the kiln dry. That's all it does.
okay. So you want to explain a little bit about the original way it was built and what you all did to improve it in modern day technology a little bit?
Well, we didn't really improve anything in technology, except we actually made this more historically accurate when we rebuilt it. The front of this kiln, when Burl and Craig originally designed it, this front wall was under the arch. Right now, you see that the arch is butted up against the front wall. And from historical photographs, we know that this is the way that they were mostly built. And the reason that he didn't put that he put that arch under the wall was so to keep it from going back and forth. Well, originally they would have a piece of wood across the front right here. And you can imagine when you have 2,300 degrees right here and there's a piece of wood, there can be problems. So what they did was they would have a kid or somebody constantly walking by with a watering can wetting that piece of wood until they technology improved where they had a piece of steel to go across to replace that piece of wood. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a rail, a piece of rail I acquired from the old Virginia Creeper Railroad, and we're gonna put that across the front to hold that front in place. Oh. About went at it without gloves again.
So what does the rocks help with?
The rocks act as buttressing. They're keeping that arch in place. They're also giving it a pretty facade.
So the rocks are to help keep the structure from expanding out?
Right. That arch naturally wants to push out. And that's one of the reasons that the front had to be rebuilt, is that arch was sitting on top of the wall. The arch pushed out like it naturally wants to do, but that wall didn't go anywhere. So those bricks that were above the arch wanted to fall in. So we replaced the front 6 feet to fix the cracks that had developed from that. And now we're putting buttressing back in to keep that from spreading out anymore. And you can kind of see how the thrust of the earth is here with that arch. We're trying to sort of match that so that arch is pushing into the ground rather than into the air.
I think I was gone that long. Y'all went fast.
Yeah. It's
Still there.
yeah.
Let's see that thing. What'd you do to it?
You want that on the on your video?
Well, you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears into this project.
I've already had plenty of blood in it.
Really? So building stuff like this, it can take a toll on your body, can't it?
Yeah, especially these in-ground kills built underground. Most of the kills I build are a steel frame with brick built above ground, like where you can move it around with a pallet jack or whatever.
So this one's just special because it's so big, or tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the main thing is the shape of it. This kiln is low and wide and long, and most kilns are not shaped like this. There are a lot of shapes around the world, but this is unique to this area. There are only maybe 8 kilns like this in the world. The design has its origins in Libourne, France. The Libourne kilns are about the same width and have the same sort of arch. And we believe that a lot of the potters in this area can trace back to those French folk potters.
Now, when you were talking earlier, you said they could hold quite a bit of pieces of pottery.
Right.
What are we talking about? How many pieces do you think's ever been in there the most?
Well, the smaller they are, the more you're going to get in, of course. This kiln was designed where there are no shelves in the kiln. There are a lot of the more contemporary kilns use posts and shelves, so you can put a lot of small pots in a kiln. This one's not designed for that. You put big pots in the center, and then the further you get past the edges of the arch, you put smaller and smaller pots, where on the sides you put the small 1 gallon and smaller pots. So in the center of this kiln, you might put 8 to 10 40-gallon jugs, and then maybe 20 to 30 15 to 20 gallon 30 or 40 5-gallon pots, and then random 1-gallon pots around those.
The smaller ones go towards the back because they don't need
Toward
as much.
the sides.
To the sides, okay.
So if you look at the front of this kiln, I don't know if you want to move around or whatever, but the top is taller than the side, so you put the big pots right down the middle, and then as you get closer to the edges, you get smaller pots.
So does it matter the heat coming from here, from the further back, or does
Yeah, so the pots on the front, this sloped wall that you see on the other side of the stoke doors is called the bag wall or flash wall, and it's tilted. and right at the top of that is the hottest part of the kiln. So some potters will use a slightly different glaze between the front and the back. So they'll use a hotter burning glaze in the front and a cooler burning glaze in the back.
Okay, so yeah, I was wondering about the heat.
A lot of the folk potters would put flower pots in the very back or in the chimney. So just the red terracotta flower pots and things in the very back where it doesn't get terribly hot.
So back in the day before you were talking about earlier, the glass came in and the pottery wasn't as needed as much. Were the commercial were they a lot of commercial kilns that this size? I mean, to me, this looks like a commercial size kiln where you'd be making a lot of pottery.
So when you compare this to commercial kilns that really started cropping up around 1900, this is a very small kiln. This is the average size for this area, about 20 feet long and about 10 feet wide. When you get down to places like Seagrove, they were narrower in width and a little bit taller in height. So they were narrower, had a single stoke hole instead of three, and they were a little bit higher and maybe a little bit shorter in length. But this 3 stoke hole thing is unique to this area. You don't see that anywhere else in the world.
We've got a Wells Fargo shotgun that we actually put in here and display on festival day. Him and his wife Becky dated in this car, and they've had it ever since.
Really?
Yep.
How about that?
Yep.
Hey guys, I'm here at Hart Square Village in Vale, North Carolina, and I'm with Brett Weatherman, and he invited me to come document the village here that Dr. Hart started back in the early 70s or maybe before that.
Yep.
And we're going to go look at over 100 structures on this tour here, so we're not going to go in all the buildings. We don't have time, but I hope to come back on many different visits throughout the summer, and then back in October when they have their main event where everybody can come if you've got a ticket. You're going to want to get online and get a ticket if you want to come to this, because you can't wait till October and decide to come. So let's go take a look at all these old buildings.
Let's do it. Right here is our apple orchard, and right next to the apple orchard, this is the last cabin that Bob and myself and 2 others moved and put back here on site. A little small storage shed, like a corn crib kind. And this is a original slaves cabin. Not sure of the period and when Bob moved it, but that's demonstrating the slave belongings inside. We've got a spring house. You would dip the water out of the well and dump it into the spring house. You do that several times a day to keep your milk and all at, a good temperature. And this is our Teague cabin. It's a 2-story, and it's also got a summer kitchen in the basement. It's down below grade. That's the only cabin that we've got that has a basement style summer kitchen. We've got a lot of butter turns on display in that cabin. That's kind of its all of its stuff it's got. Here we've got a cotton press, and this cotton press is not original. They built it here on site Tommy Tucker is well-known master craftsman. He built it. The screw part was made out of a solid chunk of tree trunk, and they carved it all with chainsaws, and the nut part is those 4 logs banded together. But pretty much we hook a mule up to one of the chains, and we'll raise it up, start loading cotton from the other side. Let's go over here and we can kind of show where we load the cotton at. And then when you get it full, then you would turn the mule around and put the chain on the breastplate of the mule, and it would start pulling the cotton press around, and then we'd start compacting it after that. And it was all built here on site. I think they had to bring in a crane to set it up, put some parts together. Still operates to this day. We use it on festival day and make a bale of cotton. I'm thinking they said a bale of cotton weighs about 500 pounds off of this one. Right behind us here, we've got the cotton gin, and this cotton gin is, so Bob's wife is Becky, not sure of her maiden name. She was from South Carolina, and Bob was looking to build a cotton gin here on the property. So he flew over, I think this is the second one still remaining in the US. So he flew and saw the other one, got some plans together, and he was telling his father-in-law one day over lunch, and he said, well, heck, why don't you just take the family cotton gin and move it down? And he didn't even know that the family had a cotton gin. So he went out back and looked at it, and this is come from Bob's wife Becky's family in South Carolina. And I'm not sure what part, but it come from South Carolina.
So there's an upstairs part?
There's upstairs.
I don't know what a cotton gin is.
You'll go up there and check it out?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm curious to see what it's about.
I'm not sure of all the terminology.
I'm sure I know none of it. So first one I've ever seen.
Okay, so right here while we're down here, so we'd have a mule hook up to opposite ends, and they would start powering it, and they'd make it go. After it starts going, it's fairly easily gone. And there's a set of cotton scales, big set of cotton scales there. And that's what would power it. Now let's go upstairs and we'll put all this together. Okay, so here is the cotton gin. So right here is the one that's in operation, but right here is a display. It might be a little bit easier to see. From these little saws, I believe it's called, have little teeth on it, and that's what grabs the cotton lint and takes it, and this brush is also spinning and gets the cotton lint off of it. Well, the seed gets, trying to find let's go over here to this one right here, and you can see the fingers on it that separate the seed from the.
So you actually use this one?
Yeah, that's the only time a year that we operate it. So right here is the big pulley from downstairs. See the belt coming through here? Comes, and right here is where it hooks to this cotton gin. Okay, so you can see the saws, and I'm gonna call them the fingers. I'm not sure what the terminology is, but your seed would drop down into this chute, and there's all your seed, your cotton seed. The cotton would fall down in a room right below us, the cotton room, and that's where you'd gather it, put it in like little bales, baskets, and take it to the cotton press, and that's where you would press it.
So there been quite a bit of cotton grown in North Carolina area?
Yes, I'm not sure exactly where we're at. It seems like maybe the east. There is some that's been grown in this local area. I see a couple cotton fields in this area. Over at the pond, this is a replica of the covered bridge built by Tommy Tucker they built it on site on the dam, had 2 cranes come in and set it in place after it was constructed. We've got to get a new roof put on it soon. Cedar shake shingles are very expensive. There's an original canoe. That's pretty cool. It looks like a hand-dug canoe. I'm not sure what year. I don't see no tag on it. Oh, here it is. Coastal Carolina Cypress dugout canoe, 18th century.
All right, now I got a better idea what this does up here. I didn't really, so this is all about cotton industry.
Yep. And there's a cotton bale. Let's see. This 500 bale was made here at Hart Square using the Tucker press with Mule power. Probably the first bale pressed using this method in over 100 years. Huh. So that's what the press would make.
This looks like a replica maybe of this building here.
Yep. Yep, I believe it is. Yep.
So is all the structures on the property got stuff like this in them mostly?
Yeah, most of them's got some kind of craft in them, whether it's some kind of lace making, violin repair, quilting, cooking. Each cabin has a craft in it.
Okay. All right.
So here's our Wheelwright shop. We've got some of our stretchers. This is a wheel, and what they would do is they would heat this up in a fire, and metal expands, so it expand enough that when they went to set it onto actually what called the tire, this is the tire, they would then take water, put around the band, and it would contract it. And then it would tighten up on the bands. You'd take cameras and try to get it set. We'll open the door up and I'll show you. But we've got a bunch of just tools, different wagon parts, kind of like you would see typical day wagon shop.
Wagon repair shop.
Yep, this is a wagon. This is the Wheelwright shop where you'd bring your wagons.
Building number 57.
Scott Beam and Jimmy Freeze and a few others on festival day set up and actually show how to replace the felloes, the tire, and the tire is the metal part. The fellows, can't remember what this is called, but anyway, they reconstruct wagon wheels. And actually, I brought a few of my family's wagon wheels and that needed repaired, and Scott rebuilt them here on site on festival day a few years ago. We've got a few anvils, different kinds of anvils. I'm not sure of all the names of these different styles. This here is the hub, and to start the hub, they would use these drills, like a drill bit, and start hollowing the hole out for the axle hub. And see how this is tapered, and that's what you would end up with to go onto the wagon axle shaft. And let's see here if I can find one right off. I don't believe I can. But you've got a lot of tools in here from that period. Bob was actually, I believe, in Granite Falls, which is 25 minutes away from here. One day somebody called him and said there's a wagon repair shop, wagon wheel repair shop up there. You know, come and look at it about buying some of the stuff. And he gets up there and all the tooling had been taken out, but what was left was the felloes and all the wooden pieces and all of the hubs. And Bob thought that was better than finding some of the tooling. You can buy the tools at the flea markets, but you can't find the wagon tires and such as often. So he enjoyed finding that. We've got a lot of wagon hoops for the covered wagons. A frame, there's actually a frame up here for a wagon. So, yep.
So this is their.
This is where you forge. Yep, this is where you'd build your fire, and you'd set your whatever part you're forging in here. And this is fell. I don't know why that fell. Anyway, this bellows would be sitting here, and you would pump the bellows, forcing air through and making your fire hotter. Here's some of the tooling. You got different kinds of tools to make the on the end of the tires. This piece here, you would make a hole on the end, and that's what would go into the rim. Just a lot of tools, different kinds of tools that you'd need in a repair shop. Here's an old grease bucket to grease the wheels. That'd be some kind of axle grease of some sort, like hog grease, fat, and it would ride on the side of the wagon, and that's what you'd stop and grease your hubs so you could keep on going.
So that's interesting. That's the first time I've ever seen a wagon wheel shop.
Yep. Now some of these tools were metal axle gauge. You'd set, this is kind of like aligning your car, your front end on your car. This is kind of some of the tools that you'd use to help out with that. On festival day, we've got those men that sit out here and demonstrate, and they really can tell you about different things and do a good job at that. But that's about it for this one.
Very interesting. Very detailed. Looks just like it probably did in the original time that it was open.
Yep. Here we're at the Hart Square jail. You've got, notice the pole here with the ring on it. I think they'd put you out here on display if you did something bad as a public embarrassment, was part of that. But we'll go inside. And these jail cell bars are actually out of the Catawba County Jail, and somehow Bob ended up with them. So they actually work. We've got the keys to them. There's the old ball and chain that you hear about. Let's see here. Here's some of the handcuffs that they would use. Shackle, like a leg shackle. They put that. Go around the fence here, and there's a few more different styles. Handcuffs. Your sheriff or his deputy would stay upstairs. But here's some of those different style handcuffs or leg shackles. You got your safe where you keep your important documents and stuff in there. And some of the badges. There's some of the deputy badges, the key ring. Let's see. And here's the famous wanted sign, poster. Wanted Doc Hart. So
during the festival, you have somebody dressed up as deputies and sheriffs?
yeah, we've got, and one of the Catawba County Sheriff's deputies, or he was actually the sheriff, he comes and reenacts on festival day. And then we've got a town drunk, if you want to call it, that starts out at the Moonshine still, and a couple of deputies bring him up through the crowd, and he's putting on a show, you know, don't want to go to jail and all this, so they bring him in here and put him up in the jail and shut the jail. So that's pretty cool to see.
Well, how about that?
Yep. We try to make it as realistic as possible.
This kind of, did you ever go to Ghost Town in the Sky?
I never did.
They'd put on, you know, gun fights, you know, but
yeah.
This wasn't nowhere near detailed like this.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, let's see what's next. I want to show you this mule or dog, or let me see what it says here. before I go telling about it. Let me look at it. Animal treadmill. It was your animal would walk on this treadmill, and then it would power the butter churn or whatever you'd have, and it's pretty much free labor. And it was patented in 1881.
How about that?
It says used to power churns, small washing machines by dog, cats, or other small animals. It's pretty cool.
Wonder how they got them to stay in there though.
I
To do
don't
that.
know. Probably hung a carrot in front of its mouth.
So this.
Here is a corn shuck mop. And we've actually got one around here somewhere that actually has the corn shucks in it. But you'd put your corn husk through here, pull them through, and this is what you'd use to mop your floors in the house. I'm thinking it's in the slaves, or in the tavern. Let's see here, what else? Yeah.
Got what's these machines over here for? What's these do?
I'm not sure. There's a pea sheller. It's probably some kind of sheller. It would grade different kinds of, say, peas. I'm not sure about that one, but that one says pea sheller, 1890. And a fanning mill. This was used to blow the chaff from the seed.
This must be different blades that went through on different implements that they used. Farming equipment.
Oh yeah, yep, for
plows
cultivating.
and-
Yep.
So another building full of stuff. You got
Oh,
there's
yeah.
you've been here 8 years and there's so much stuff you don't know at all, do you?
Yeah, and it's something that you oh, I didn't ever see that. You know, I'm learning something new all the time.
So what's this machine they got out here?
Let's see what year this is. Oh, the tag, 1800s thrashing machine. The tag is about kind of gone, but yep. That was probably pulled by steam powered, or either, yeah, I would say more or less steam powered on this. And I would think this is about the only machine that we've got here that is actually driven by steam or some kind of engine power.
So this building comes all the way back around here.
Yep.
Was this thin?
Yep. Here's a cabin. Let's go in here. This is the Deets cabin. Notice it's got 2 front doors, and the left door is what takes you upstairs, and the right door takes you into the living room. So if you wanted to go up, you had to come outside the house and then walk out on the front porch and go out, go upstairs. The kitchen is a summer kitchen, and it's located on the back through a breezeway. So that would take you into the living room. We also do violin repairs in this cabin on festival day. It's kind of set up for that. And you can't really see, it's kind of dark right here. Let's see. Got a neat piece of furniture here. Makes a bench. Cannot remember the name of it, but it makes a bench. If you have extra company coming over, you can pull it out, set this down, put pegs through it, it makes a table. It's a pretty neat piece. There's a couple. Bob loved corner cupboards. That's kind of a small one, but there is probably 30 different corner cupboards. There's a nice big one over in the corner. But that was his thing. He liked corner cupboards. We'll go out the back door here and we'll go into the kitchen. This kitchen's really nice piece. There's a tricycle, kid's tricycle. That's an old piece. You can see how big the hearth is. It'll heat this place up pretty good. And the reason why they did a separate kitchen is the threat of fire, and also heat in the summertime. You didn't want all the heat in the house. And then if a fire broke out in the kitchen, it would kind of keep it separate from the cabin so you wouldn't burn down everything you had. Here's some sugar. Here's a sugar, it's like a sugar chest drawer. It locks, and you would put your sugar cones down in here, lock it. Sugar was so expensive back in the day that it was hard to come by, and this is sugar loppers. You would take these and would nip off your sugar nippers. You'd nip the sugar off and sell it, or use it for baking. Here is a cherry pitter. These here are cherry pitters, different style. This one here, you put all your cherries down in. This is a very old handmade one, and you'd push it down and push the pit off the bottom. And there's a small one, a little small cherry pitter. That's about it in this one.
I see a lot of the jugs here, so is that something you think that was made here over the years?
It possibly could be. I'd have to look at them and see.
So yeah, well, this is interesting. I like this one.
Yep. It's this is one of my favorite cabins. Okay, let's try to, we can go upstairs real quick, check it out. So you've got several beds, got a big crib. You could probably put 5 or 6 kids in that one crib. Got a little carriage here. Now this piece here it got cold at night, so they would take this rock piece and put it in the fireplace, get it really warm, put it inside this and stick it in the underneath your sheets. That'd keep your toes warm as a bed warmer. Got a child's potty there. Let's step over to the next room and see what's in here. Just another bed. Yep.
So this one like this would have took a while to take apart.
Oh yeah.
With all the interior wood and 2 stories.
And that's the thing about it. Bob did all the work himself. People thinking, oh, he's a doctor. He hired a bunch of people to do it. That's not the case. He did hire some people and had some help, but for the most part, he did everything himself. He had a brick mason do some chimneys and that kind of thing. But the rock chimneys, he did himself. And there is some massive chimneys here. Some of the chimneys are, 6, 7 foot wide, 2 and 3 foot deep. So it took a lot of work to put those up.
What's the chain for coming into the barrel?
That's just to direct your water off the gutter down into the drum, the barrel. And that water you would use to water your, animals, flowers, your vegetables and stuff, fire at the house. So, just whatever you needed water for, rainwater. Okay, let's go.
Let's see what the side of it looks like. I saw there was a side porch of that kitchen looked like.
Yep. And that's our apple press is on the back of it. That's what we use on during our school field trips and festival days to demonstrate squeezing apples. So That's what that's for.
Oh boy, there's a big crock there. Ain't
Yep.
there?
We've got a 50-gallon crock down there in the spring house.
Really?
Yeah, it's really big and heavy. Okay, here's our Stroop cabin. It's a 2-story cabin. It's got a summer kitchen attached to the back side. It's actually separate from the cabin. Got a wood shed. That massive chimney.
Dr. Hart laid that rock?
Yeah, probably so, yep. He did most of it. Here on our left, we've got a trapper's cabin. It's got a lot of big traps, bear traps, some really, really big bear traps, different furs and hides of different kind of animals, skinning knives and that kind of thing in there. This here is our beehive oven, and we demonstrate on festival day making cornbread in it. Now this is one of our, well, a couple of these cabins. Punch Sights cabin, it needs some seal log repair on the back side. That cabin is set up with a quilting loom in it, and they actually, on festival day, there's a lot of ladies that dress up and actually quilt, and when they get the quilt done, we end up selling it at the festival. Might take a year or two for it to actually get done, but we're looking to get some repairs done on it. Here's the Barger cabin. It's got a lot of the same stuff in it as well, different kinds of weaving, different things like that. Actually, shoe repair in it as well, like a Cooper's bench in there. Here is a saddle repair shop, any kind of leather work in that one. Cooper's shop, that's where you'd make your wooden barrels and drums. And then your steam bending shop. We would put a fire in there, steam bend. We could make all kinds of any kind of wood that you needed bent in whatever shape. We could heat it up and bend it in that. So this is our Hull dog trot cabin, and a dog trot cabin is 2 separate log structures with a breezeway connected through the middle of it. Let me pull up here a little bit more and you can see the breezeway, how it is. We've got a moonshine steel where the tin roof is. That's actually a period correct moonshine steel, and the family that donated it comes and operates it on festival day. There's our grist mill. You can see the water wheel on the back side. When our pond is full of water, we open a valve up and the water comes and turns the wheel and makes the grist mill, big stone wheel inside, operate. This cabin right in front of us is the Dellinger Cahill house, and it is a fully functional cabin. It's got heat and air, kitchen, refrigerator, bathtub, probably 5 beds inside. So when we have guests that need a place to stay, we usually put them in the Cahill house. Here is our armory. This is where your gunsmithing would take place. We've got some of the pieces in there that would make the octagon shaped on the gun barrels, the rifling, and that. It's got all kinds of gun parts in there. No guns are stored in. We take the guns out during the year, but we do on festival day set up, and there might be 40 or 50 kind of flintlock guns on display and demonstrating those. Got a little pigsty, little pig cabin there. Here's our arbor set up on the set bands up on the stage, and people come and eat on festival day. Got a
What was this big thing for you short?
big cauldron. Some of the cauldrons were made to boil salt down. We actually do that. If you can see that one over there with the lid on it, that's our salt kettle. We have a guy out of Virginia that comes and actually makes salt for us. And this one here, maybe you'd skin a hog or hog skinning day, you'd do that. You know, you needed kids needed a bath or whatever you needed to put in it. Okay, here's a neat piece. Let's show this. Let's look at this trough. This is a cypress meat trough. Tree has over 300 rings and is probably 200 years old. It was grown around the 1600s. So you can look at the ring on it there and see that. We've got another trough, meat trough, over next to the pottery shed, about the same size.
You call it a meat trough?
Yeah, you'd put your meat with salt, and then you'd salt it down.
Okay.
Put it in a smokehouse after that. Here's a canoe, dugout canoe, 1800s, made from a single tree. It's got a couple different things in here on display.
I guess maybe people sitting here and eat too, maybe?
Yeah, yep. We usually we set up buffet dinner after the festival. All our volunteers are fed, barbecue dinner, and we have this as our buffet line, and
okay.
Then they go and sit wherever else.
I like how it's there's no pavement or nothing
Yeah.
in here.
Yep. So here is a rock out of a grist mill, right there and right over here. And I'll pull up here and you can kind of see the rings on it, the grooves. And that's what does your grinding in the inside of a grist mill.
Wow, I bet that's heavy to move.
Oh yeah.
Have you moved it?
Yeah, we moved two of them and I couldn't pick that one up. It was so heavy with that new Kubota tractor. We got two of the smaller ones and moved over to the education center. St. Mark's Church here. We've got our tavern is right here. I don't know if you want to step out. It's a two-story. It's got a big cooking fireplace. We do a lot of cooking demonstrations in that particular cabin. As you see, we can got some scaffolding set up. We're going to try to do some repairs on the back window. This is our pit saw. There's a big pit, probably about 6 foot down inside the ground. And you would take one of these style saws. There's a good demonstration hanging up on the wall. We've got a better one that we keep in the storage, but that's a good demonstration. And they would sit up here, one person down inside the pit, and he would pull down on the saw while the person on the top took a wedge and wedged in between to keep the saw from binding up. And he was called the top notch, and the person on the bottom was called in the pits. That's where the terminology came from. In the life's of the pits, well, that's where it come from, so I've been told.
So yeah, I'd say you'd get a lot of sawdust on you down there.
Yeah. Got a lot of grinding stones. He loved collecting his grinding stones, so we've got a display of those as well. Now here's demonstrating after you'd saw your lumber, you'd saw it green and you would stack it up here. This is the drying rack. When you'd split cedar, you would rack it up in racks like that for it to cure and also to keep it from rotting as bad. Now right here we've got a blacksmith shop. Inside is set up. We've got a shoe repair shop, and a chair repair shop. And that's all your cane repaired shops, and our broom factory is right there where we repair brooms. This is the first original cabin that Bob moved here on the site. Hunsucker cabin. We make candles, not candles, we make soap here, lye soap, and also demonstrate clothes washing. And we've got a gold panning trough turned upside down. Here is a millinery shop. Horsehair, that's where your women would go shopping. They'd get wigs and whatever. Of course, we saw the general store earlier today. Let's ride up here and we'll come back around and I'll show you the print shop and the woodworking shop. Here's our schoolhouse. It's got 2 doors. Left is for the girls to enter and the right is for the boys. And they went in those doors and come out those doors. We've got a big granary, Walker granary right here. They actually moved this in one piece down the road with a trailer. They backed the trailer up underneath of it, moved it all the way here, got it all the way down Highway 10, coming through the back roads, and we couldn't make it, or Bob couldn't make it through the gate at the main entrance. So they ended up having to take the gate down, the post down, to get it through the gate to where it stands now. Got a tobacco barn. Got a little corn crib right here. Put your corn in there to let it dry. So here's our print shop. It actually has a printing press inside, and he was in the process of building this cabin, didn't know what he was going to use it for, and Bob's wife Becky worked for the Catawba County Historical Association, and they had a person wanted to donate a printing press, and they didn't have nowhere to put it. And Bob said, well, I'll take it. So he hadn't built the chimney on the back side, and that was the only way he could get the press in, was by the hole that the chimney was getting ready to be covered up. So we finally got it inside, and we use it as well. It's fully operational. Here we got a Woodwright shop, woodworking equipment inside, a lot of your 1800s, hand woodworking tools, saws, chisels, you know, just anything you needed, planes, just whatever you needed to do any kind of woodworking. Another little double corn crib barn right there. We split oak shingles right here for demonstration. We start out with a big round log and split those by hand. So this is our tinsmith shop. They would make your tin cups, tin pans, just lanterns, whatever you needed to make tin out of. Firehouse. We got some different kind of firefighting equipment in there. It's just mainly the basic setup inside. There's a lady that demonstrates how to cut up cabbage to make sauerkraut on festival day on the front porch. That's pretty neat. The doctor's office right here. Got a lot of period correct doctor's equipment in there. Got a smokehouse right there. Now this is a spring house, or not a spring house, a root cellar. And the insulation for the door is straw layered in between. That was what they used for their insulation. And they got a lot of canned items on the side over here. Different things like that. Kind of needs to be straightened up a little bit. Looks like our fake pumpkins are showing they're fake.
So that kept it down cooler,
yeah,
down in the ground?
I think it's 55 degrees is what it kind of, what they say for a spring, or for a root cellar. Now our pond, we just got it fixed last week. The main drain line was getting repaired, so our pond level is down a lot. But this is our fishing shack, and we've got this little raft. When the pond level's up, we've got this little raft that you actually pull yourself across and go over to the fishing shack, and it's got a little wood stove. You can go fishing off the front of it. And I brought my girls over and we fished one day and we had a blast. But the pond level should be coming up, I hope, in the next few weeks. It just takes time. It's just creek fed, so.
Now, did they cut those trees originally, put the pond in?
Yeah. Bob had a friend that had a local grading outfit, and in the wintertime, when time was slow for his grading business, Bob asked him if he'd come over and do some grading work. He wanted to put in some ponds, wanted to put in a landing strip up on the upper part of the property. And so the deal was the guy told him, said, if you'll pay for my men and my diesel fuel, he said, I'll come over and do it at cost, just to keep my men a job and they wouldn't leave me. So Bob got a lot of work done that way. And the guy was just as tickled to death with that. But yeah, they just went in and cut the treetops off and left them sitting where they are. Here is our amphitheater. We do some singings and different things down here. We're going down to the Indian village now. Got a little cabin and got a little poplar bark cut. We need to redo the roof on it. But we demonstrate different, got airheads. We have a guy that actually sets up and shows how to make fire with, like a wood and like a bow with rocks and that kind of thing.
What would they use this building for?
This is what their house would be. We it's in bad looking shape right now, but we kind of rebuilt it last year. And we actually tore one down to salvage the bark off of one. But it needs, the poplar bark is very expensive. So it just costs a lot of money to get it fixed. I think we got quoted $11,000 just for the bark to put that back. So
$11,000.
that's what we got quoted.
Did you tell me you didn't want the whole tree, just the bark?
That's what we should have said. So yeah, so we're gonna try something else.
I never thought of bark costing that much. What did they use it for?
Well, up in our mountain communities, they use it as siding on a lot of the nicer homes, and so it's in high demand. And you can only get that poplar bark when the sap is rising in the springtime. So there's only a short window that you can harvest the bark. And so I guess we need to go cut a poplar tree down ourselves and harvest our own bark, sounds like. Here is our, I call it the Boy Scout hut. I'm not sure exactly what the name of it is, but it's kind of, we've got a few things inside, but we mainly, our Boy Scouts, when they come, they can stay in it.
They stay overnight, the Boy Scouts do?
Yep, they have, yep. Yep. We'll go down here to the stockade. So the stockade has a lot of locust post pillars around it, and that was to keep out unwanted people. See how they're sharpened at the top? They've got little small stands on the inside where you can stand up and shoot out or whatever you needed to. I'll open the gate up on it and we can look at the front of the cabin. We've got an outhouse and another little corn crib out back. And this cabin does not have any power at all in it. It's got the windows, the shutters. This cabin does not have actual glass windows. It's all shuttered. And the back porch, there's a well, and they dug a well just for demonstration and went down probably about 4 foot to give it the depth and actually hit water. So there's actually water in that well. This piece right here, you would tie your bell around your cow. Tie this, you'd have a harness or a collar around the cow, tie it to a long rope or whatever chain. And whenever your cow would get hung up on a tree, it could just wander free. It'd get hung up on a tree and it's ringing its bell trying to get loose. And that's when you could find your cow. That was more of the free range as we know it today. Here you can see some old handmade chain. We've got several 100 foot of this blacksmith handmade chain. These are, you know, it took a long time to make that.
How did Dr. Hart have time to be a doctor and do all this?
I don't know. He did. Every day he was off work, he was over here. Sundays he would go to church and leave straight church, come over here and start working. And he had a lot of help too. But he would come over on his lunch break from being a doctor and do an hour or two's worth of work and then drive back to Hickory to catch his afternoon appointments. So you can see the stand that you could stand up on and look out.
Now, did he find a property with this fence around it like this?
He got a logging crew out of the mountains.
I mean, was there actually one like this in the area?
In Sherrill's Ford, Adam Sherrill, I believe it is, they had a stockade around the Sherrill cabin when he forded the Catawba River to come into Sherrill's Ford. And I guess history books, he found the idea to do this for the stockade. Yep, but that's all locust. Locust will be around for a long time. It won't hardly rot. Hartzog cabin. Yeah, it's the Blackburn Hartzog Knoll cabin. We've got just a basic setup in this, and on our festival day, the Hartzog family actually come and they set up in here. They come in the week prior, clean the cabin, make sure everything's in working order, and we really appreciate that. They do a lot of good for us.
So ancestors from the family come.
Yep, we've got a lot of cabins that the family still comes and does. I'll show you this well here. This is pretty cool. We've got a well bucket in storage right now, but we'd take a hemp style rope, and this is how you dip water. You'd have a bucket on here and you'd open this up. This is just a fake well cover, ain't nothing in it. And you'd dip it down in, it'd fill up with water, and the cantilever would just raise the bucket right out of the water. And that was an easy way, instead of a hand crank, that was an easy way of getting your water up to the surface. And right there are bee gums that are made out of a stump or a log that are hollow inside. And this is how they would do their bees. You can see down inside there that they've got just a standard rack that you would see today. But anyway, that's what there's your bee gums.
That says number 2 on that one.
Yep.
What building's number 1?
I think Hunsucker House, the original, I believe.
That's number 14.
Is it?
It is.
Well, I don't know what number 1 would be then. you stumped me. I don't know.
I looked at it, I thought it would have been number 1.
You would think so.
He didn't go by that order, did he?
No, he didn't. I figured he would have. We put a new cedar shake roof on the drum cabin 2 years ago. It's got a kitchen on the back side. I wouldn't consider this a summer kitchen or is this still connected to the cabin? I'll drive around to the front, and this is actually the Drum Post Office. It is located on Highway 16, close to Highway 16 and 150 intersection, near Bandy's area. But the post office is through this door, and this would be a stagecoach stop. So inside there's a trap door right in front of the fireplace, and you know, if you saw that the stagecoach was going to be held up or somebody was coming in to get all your valuables, you could jump down in through the trap door and come through, and this door here opens, still operates, and you could, while they're going in the front door, you could be coming out the back and getting away with your valuables. So
this was originally an actual post office?
Yeah, original post office. Now the stagecoach part of it, I'm not sure of that story, but that's what we demonstrate.
Right. Okay.
Demonstrated
that's something else.
Yeah.
Can't believe how many different type of buildings he put in here.
Oh yes. Yep. Let's see here. Got a doctor's buggy. That's the doctor's cabin, doctor's office, and so we've got a doctor's buggy right there. Here is the schoolhouse and the playground for the kids. So this is where the teacher would stay at. The Spiegel cabin, and it's real basic. Now, something to note on this cabin is it's got rock up to a certain point, and that might be all they could find in the area. So then it's got that might be locust or either a white oak, and got red clay in between, and that's a wooden chimney. And notice the pole right beside of it. If the fire would happen to catch the logs on fire, the actual chimney, they can take the pole, stick it in between the cabin and the chimney, and knock the chimney away from the house to keep the house from burning down. That and our Indian village is the only two that I know of that has a wooden log chimney.
Okay, so this is the grist mill down here we see, and so...
Yep. When the pond is full of water, the water will enter that pipe and come on down the flume, and that's when the water wheel starts turning. So we're coming up on the Walker covered bridge. It was built on site out of new material at the time, and it was built right here where we're driving on, and they had two cranes come in and set it in place. We will drive across it and you can see what it looks like on the inside, but it is rated for 18,000 pounds is what it was originally designed for. There's a little print right there, Glenn Walker in 1999. And, yep, load limit 18,000. The little window, it's pretty neat to see out the little window across. Here's our Chapel of Peace church. Got a foot pump organ inside, a lot of pews, and it's a very nice church inside. This cabin is the Rhodes cabin. It's a 3-story structure. It's our only 3-story cabin that we have, and it's got actually 3 fireplaces or chimneys in it with, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fireplace openings. And it's got several outhouses, corn crib, smokehouse. That outhouse is a three-hole outhouse. We've got a big barn here. We got a stump puller. You would use it as a mule-powered stump puller.
Lots of buggies. So some of these built here in North Carolina, you think?
Possibly. Possibly. I'm not sure what kind of buggies those are. But yep. Different work shed. Just different work sheds. There's a some kind of barn, smokehouse. I think that might be a smokehouse. Here's our debtor cabin and the right cabin, and they both were put up here about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. So they're some of our most recent cabins. There.
And this is the learning center. We've not drove by. Let's drive by that. Let
let's
people
go.
get an idea.
This is our education center. It's been in operation for about 2 years now. We have a lot of classes, school kids, different kind of arts classes, weddings, corporate events, just all kinds of stuff inside the building. We can see about 400 people inside, but that's a Sigmund Family Education Center.
So this is the maintenance area, I guess, where you keep all the building supplies and repair supplies.
Yep, a lot of our tools, nails, saws, any kind of item you need to fix a cabin or build one. We've got our shop with a lot of different kinds of period correct old tools that we still use every now and then, and a lot of power tools as well. We've got a tractor shed with some of our equipment, rakes and shovels, trailer load of lumber that we use to do repairs, and we just kind of house all of that up there and keep our tools locked up here in the shed. We've got a lot of that. We got this golf cart we're riding around on. This is my main maintenance golf cart. We got a lot of tools on it. Keep a lot of screws and nails and different things. So when you're out and see a step that's loose or a handrail that needs to be fixed, you don't have to go all the way back to the shop to get a screw or a nail. I've got a lot of that here and can just take care of it then.
Got your hammers right here.
Yep. Got all of that. We'll go over here and show you some of the logs that we have, replacement logs, some of the antique logs that have been salvaged, our wood hanger, and this is just a small amount of what we've got. We've got a lot of tin stored in different areas, and windows and doors. I bet we've got probably 30 doors, 30 or 40 different windows that we can do repairs on. A lot of windows get damaged by weather, and we end up having to put a new window in it. Well, it's an old window, but a new window to that spot. We got a hayride trailer we use. So inside the hangar, we've got an original stagecoach, and we've got a Wells Fargo shotgun that we actually put in here and display on festival day. And this is the jack that would jack up the maybe do some wheel repair. But this is, I think Bob bought this at an auction for $4,000, probably about 5 years ago. We've got a lot of repair items in here as well, a lot of different cabin stuff, related things. So,
Well, I guess this was Dr. Hart's car.
Yep, that was, let's see here. Him and his wife Becky dated in this car, and they've had it ever since.
Really?
Yep.
How about that?
Yep.
Well, that's a story right there, ain't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure of the year. I forgot what year it was.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff to keep up with.
Yes, it is. A lot of repairs, a lot of maintenance, a lot of money to keep it up too.
Yeah, so I guess if anybody wants to donate and help support things, they can go to
our website. We've got a donation page, and we've got 3 or 4 cabins right now that are in desperate need of repair. So we've got a open campaign now for that. try to raise money for those. So, yeah, I've enjoyed it today.
Well, it's been fun. I'm sure glad that you found me and sent me an email and invited me to come over. It's been a great day, and we've made several videos today, so looking forward to getting them edited and online. And so if this is one of 3 that we have filmed today, so if this is just one of the videos, look for the other 2. They'll either be coming out or already been posted. And I'd like to thank everybody here that's welcoming us to come video.
Yep, we appreciate it.
We'll see y'all next time.
Thank you.